Hi everyone, we're here at John Sadler's Auto Repair, and we have a 2006 H2 Hummer that came in, and power steering fluid was leaking out the bottom of the vehicle at a high rate and making a huge puddle this big around within several seconds, and the power steering pump would start to whine as soon as I fill it full of fluid, run right out again. So I'll show you what I found out. Here's the steering gearbox. And you can see it says remanufactured on it, so someone has already done, some work on it in the past. And the fluid was just coming right out of here, just gushing out, running down the front of the pitman arm that hooks onto here, and running all over the ground. And you can see it's on the outside of the box. So what I found out is I started to take it apart, and I have my all data printout here, and that comes off the factory manual, as you know. And this part number 28 here, this dust boot wasn't even here, didn't even exist. And what happens because of that, since these things get off-roaded a lot, is down below this ledge where it's hard to see, it's got some rust on the shaft. And then it had this seal facing this direction, which is facing the wrong way, because the pressure is going to be on the opposite side. The fluid's just going to blow right past that seal. So when the seal's facing down this way and they have the lip facing the opposite way, it's going to retain the fluid inside of it. So once I got this off and saw that this was in backwards, I said, well, this isn't too good. Right below it, I found this snap ring. And you can see it's broken. And if you look at this one, where it has the new one that comes in the kit, has a black finish, it's just a higher quality part. It just feels better, like it's a better piece of material. This is like a low grade piece of material. Then it has the spacer here, and then it has like this plastic little shim spacer, and then it has the seal. This seal was in the correct way. You can see it has the same kind of lip as the other one, and so that was installed properly. Now that seal sits way down inside that shaft. So I made a special tool, which I took a small center punch and I ground it down so it would go right along the side of this housing. And I could center punch. I made a really sharp tip on the tip of that, make it very sharp, take a small ball peen hammer, and what I did is I hit it in a few places where it was in between the lip of the seal, and I was able to thread a screw in there and just put it a couple turns. And then once I threaded the screw in there, I was able to take a pair of side cutters, because the screw's sticking up some, and grab a hold of it and then just kind of slowly lift it up and rock it and lift it up a little bit, lift it up a little bit, and got it out. Because you don't want to damage the shaft. So when you center punch it, you can see I was real careful. There's still the seal there, there's still the seal there, and then the screw went in there, and it didn't affect any part where it's going to leave a scratch marks or scoring on the inside of the housing or on the shaft itself, because then it's really going to leak. So we got a new kit right from General Motors, and we got that bushing that goes in there, or it's called a dust seal. A pitman shaft boot is what the exact terminology is. And the dust seal, the number 27, was in backwards. So just because you buy a rebuilt unit, like this thing says, or it says remanufactured, excuse me, it doesn't mean anything. And when you want to get that seal out without damaging anything, you just get your grinder and get a small center punch and just work it around so it'll fit down in between that space. And be very careful that you go in the middle part of the seal, that you don't damage, you don't make any center punch marks that are going to damage the shaft or the housing on either side. So I want to pass that on because I know I'm not the only one that has that problem. Some people do these right inside the vehicle. I choose to just put it on a bench where it's easier to work on it, then reinstall it back in the vehicle. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great afternoon.